Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. The video game industry normally has to deal with a certain amount of garbage when it comes to copyright, but it was brought to my attention that there is a rather silly trademark dispute going on with Tim Pool, who runs the YouTube channel Timcast, and Studio FOW, the developers of the upcoming, let's call it, adult game, Subverse. Now, I am no lawyer, so do not take anything I say here as any form of legal advice, nor am I an authority on U.S. trademark law. I can only speak to what we know publicly, what information has been provided, and then what the most likely outcome may be. Not necessarily will be, but might be. And don't forget, the road to 100K marches on. We were doing well there for a while, but the day job has sort of stalled forward momentum, as well as a change in thumbnail might have confused some viewers into missing my most recent video. So please do make sure you're subscribed and ring the bell to help with notifications. Also, all the likes, comments, and video shares on Twitter and Facebook you can muster would be most appreciated. I know you guys have been doing amazing on that score, but every last like, every individual posting of the video on Twitter or other social media platforms really does help tremendously. So let's run through the facts as we're currently aware of them, and then I'll offer up my opinion on all of this. First, we have Tim Pool, a centrist liberal YouTuber with multiple YouTube channels and a few 100,000 subscribers. Tim Pool also started up the site Subverse.net, as well as the YouTube channel Subverse. It appears that the domain Subverse.net was registered in July 2015 through the Wild West Domains Registrar. Tim Pool also runs the Subverse YouTube channel, a news channel with nearly 100,000 subscribers that appears to have been started at about the same time as the domain, judging by its oldest video that was published in December 2015. Then we also have Studio FOW that are creating the video game Subverse that has a wildly successful Kickstarter, raising over $750,000 and has blown past their initial goal of $130,000. Tim Pool released a video last night outlining his claims that the video game Subverse is infringing his established trademark and have supplanted him in Google search results. Now, also bear in mind that Tim Pool's Subverse exists within the news media industry, and from what I have seen has little, if any, connection to video games in any meaningful way, whereas the Subverse video game is exactly that, a video game. Also, while Tim Pool has stated that he has had a long-established trademark within his video, when we look up the trademark for Subverse, we see 3 listings, 2 dead and 1 live. The live one is Tim Pool's, but there are a couple of items to be pointed out here. First is that Tim Pool filed the trademark on April 8th, a mere 6 days ago, which made me wonder if Tim Pool had even managed to complete the review process. So I went and looked up the status of the trademark and see that it is still listed as a new application, meaning that the trademark isn't official yet. The trademark application also states that the trademark is for providing online video games, as well as what Tim Pool's Subverse actually does. And for the last little tidbit of information, Tim Pool has stated that he is forced to resort to legal action to protect his trademark. So those are the basic facts of what is at play here, and what I think about this is I don't think this is going to go at all well for Tim Pool. Now, I can understand being upset. I can understand being frustrated. Tim Pool has worked hard to build up his multiple YouTube channels, and judging by the sheer volume of content he produces in a single day, I can imagine the pace to be rather frantic. To see one of those revenue streams supplanted in search results by an adult video game is probably maddening. Pool stated in his video that when people go to search for Subverse, it returns with the adult game and not him, which is costing him due to the loss of visibility. Yeah, it sucks, but in reality, they've done absolutely nothing wrong, short of failing to file a trademark for their video game, which was an oversight on their part. Tim Pool has threatened legal action to protect a trademark that doesn't even exist yet. Pool filed his trademark application less than a week ago to be able to go after Studio FOW via legal means because they were essentially telling him where he could stick it. There is such a thing as an established brand without a trademark, but whether it was with a valid trademark or an absent one, there must be some form of brand confusion, and that is typically determined by another company providing or claiming to provide the same or similar services. In this case, Pool's Subverse is a news entity, whereas Studio FOW's Subverse is a video game. Those are two completely separate industries, as Pool's Subverse doesn't even discuss video games, so they aren't even peripherally related. Now, I was also pointed to this question on avo.com, where a person was asking if they could trademark a name within a different industry than another company with the same name, and the response from a trademark application attorney stated, quote, "Yes, it is possible for more than one company to have trademark rights in the same word or phrase in different industries. Examples of this include Delta for faucets and airlines, and Pioneer for electronics and agricultural seeds. The question in these kinds of circumstances is often whether the goods or services offered by the two companies are sufficiently related such that a consumer would be likely to think a company providing the first product or service would be reasonably likely to provide the second product or service also. Although, I would also like to raise a question for an actual attorney as to trademark misrepresentation. Remember, Poole filed his trademark application specifically citing that his Subverse provides online video games, which is an outright lie. The only conceivable reason he could have for that, at least that I can think of, is specifically so he could have an easier time going after Studio FOW and also to prevent them from filing a trademark for the Subverse video game. I get that Poole is frustrated and angry, like I said. This would definitely not be a pleasant thing to deal with, but how he has gone about setting up what could only be considered as an attack on Studio FOW is exceptionally dirty and underhanded. It is not the behavior of a moral person. I'm reminded of Sega of Japan and their multiple spurious DMCA strikes that affected countless channels on YouTube that so much as mentioned Shining Force in order to make certain that their new video game rose to the top of the search rankings. What Tim Poole is attempting to accomplish here is no better. He is attempting legal action over a company that was in no way interfering with his trademark merely because he wants to make sure that his Subverse rises to the top of search rankings. It is dishonest, it is unethical, and it is quite despicable. My final thought? I hope he fails utterly. Maybe if he acted more honorably, but no. He has shown a stop-at-nothing mentality and has tossed his ethical standards out the window. Now, I will be keeping a close eye on this over the coming weeks to see what Tim Poole and Studio FOW will do over this. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.